Hello grade 12. We are going to do this program. Why does my F12 not want to work? Okay, keyboard's on. There we go. This program, you might remember it. We're starting at activity 3.7. Did 3.6 on the 31st of May, and this is page 93. But before we do this, these two buttons here, we're going to go and look at how we read from the text file called marks.csv, and I've opened it with Notepad, so it looks like a Notepad file now. It's stored in the folder as marks.csv. If you right click and open with Notepad, then you can see it in this format over here. Now we want to read from this text file into a 2D array, and the two-dimensional array is as follows: a data array, 5 rows and 7 columns. And if we look at the text file, you'll see that there are 5 rows here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. So we're going to build a string. Not going to build a string, we're going to separate each item one by one and put it into the 2D array, and it will look like this. So this is how the 2D array must look, with the 5 rows and 7 columns. So let's do that. First of all, we need to have a text file variable and a string, because we're going to read from the text file. Okay, we won't go and check to see the text file exists now, because we haven't got the time for that. Sound file, I'm sure you know how to do that. So I'm going to sound file t file to the text file called marks.csv. It's actually a comma separated file, but we can use the same code to connect to it. But you must type .csv over there, and then we reset it to start reading, and then we say while not end of file t file do begin and end, and we read the first line. Read ln from t file into s line. All standard grade 11 stuff so far. Now we're going to break up s line. S line is going to be this first file. Okay, we're going to take each number, and they're all integers, and this is an array of integers, as you can see there. And we're going to take the first one and put it box number 1, and the second one in box number 2 of row number 1. So I'm going to now go and get my row, my I row and my I col variables. I row, it's always a good idea to use I row and I col variables when you're dealing with two-dimensional arrays as our integers. Now, of course, I'm going to set, I'm going to read the line, and this is basically going to be my first line. So my I row, we're going to set to 0 before our loop. Oh, let's set it to 0. But the problem is the first line in this particular text file happens to be headings. So what we're going to do with that, we'll read it, fine, but I'm going to display those in the display component, which is this list box, lbx results. So lbx results will display everything. So it's different to a rich edit, but yes, it's actually quite similar really, because we say list box results.items.add, just instead of lines.add, you say items.add. So we're going to copy the first one, and how many items do we have to copy from? We have 1 comma, or how many commas, in other words. You've got to find the position of the comma. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commas, and then we'll be left with the last one. So we'll go from, for K, let's use for loop counter k, and we'll say for k equals 1 to 6, we'll test it out to see if it works just now. And we're going to copy from each item. So fine, so snum, sh, sfees, test1, test2, assignment, exam. Right, I've got to go and create all those variables. Assignment, what else is there? Assignment is exam, s fees 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, yes, s assignment. Right, the first thing is snum. So snum, wait, let's just call it a string. We don't need variables like this. S item, we just call it S item. S item equals copy from S line. Actually, I'll tell lies. This mustn't be in the loop. Get it out of here. We're going to read the first line and then we'll go into the loop. I'm going to read ln. When we read the first line, the pointer will go to here, and then we're going to read 5 times over there. But we're first reading the line before we go into the loop for the text file, okay? So for k equals 1 to 6, begin and end, we're going to copy from S line starting at 1 to the, and number of characters will be the position of the comma in S line minus 1. Now we all know that standard copying. So we copy from the first character to the position of the comma minus 1. We'll get that. And then when we finish that, we'll delete it from then. So we'll delete that and the comma. Okay. But before we go and copy the next one, we want to put S item into a string. S headings. I'm going to call it S heading. And we'll set S heading to an empty string before we do this. And I'll say S headings equals S headings plus S item, and then plus a #9. So we have tab stops between each heading. So S item and S #9 is going to be added at the end. And then after this loop, we will display it in the list box. st results.items.add, probably spelling that wrong, S headings. There we go. Now, pity they didn't use a richer, it'll be easier. Sorry about that. So let's go and see. K will be 1. We will copy that one and then delete it and add it to S headings with a #9. Then we'll copy age, that's 2, and delete it and add it to S9, and then copy the third time, fees outstanding, and add it to S headings. Then copy test1, the word test1, add it to our headings. It's 4, 5, and 6, and we're left with exam. So we've got to copy that. We've got to add that to S headings before we go and add S headings equals, just adding this line at the end for that last item. So that was just breaking up that first string, that first heading up there into a whole lot of pieces. Obviously, it doesn't affect the text file at all because we've read that first line into S line. Okay, and then we copied pieces from it and broke it up. So we're not destroying the line from the text file at all. We read it from the text file into a string, and we're breaking up that string and then adding it to a heading so that we can have tab stops, #9s in between. Now, I'm not sure how to set up the tab spacing on a list box. Maybe we can try. What is the name of this list? I've obviously spelt it wrong here. So that is LBX. If I type LBX results dot I wonder if a paragraph nope dot tab yeah, nope nope. I've never put tab stops in a list box before. Maybe some of you have. But if we look at our properties of a list box, we have items, the height, and name. We have tab width. That will be the tab width for each item. Maybe we can make it a bit larger. Who knows? Maybe we'll make it 70 and see what happens. I just made the tab width at 70. So what this is doing is just taking that first line and putting it as headings into the list box. Let's see if it actually works. Right, so there would be errors. Oh no, semicolon over there. Right, because I've got too many ends, I haven't finished the rest of this code. The fact that the text file is open might be a bad idea. Right, read CSV. Oh, you know what we did? If you can't close your program, click on Run Program Reset. I've put this code here, which I don't want, because that's basically going to run forever and ever while not end the file. It's just going to carry on looping. Read CSV, there they are. Now, of course, I've made the tab stops too far. Right. I'm going to have to, as you can see, there's an extra item there, and I must change the tab stops to 60. Maybe it'd be a better bet. Let's run the program. That's just getting that first line and breaking it up so we can see headings. So we haven't got the exam, it's not there, so 50 actually is going to have to be the number, if not less. See, the thing is that those headings obviously are causing a problem. And the list box obviously is causing a problem there too. I can just make the list box larger, why not? There we go. Okay, now where's exam? Yeah, we have to have that other line there because exam is not there. So I have to do, it's got to be S line, not S item, S line. Must go over here because what's left of S line will be that very last one after the, just go and open this again. That last one there after we deleted the last comma, we copied and deleted with 6 commas, then we had the last comma, and then we had to add S line. So S line is what's left, not S item. I had the wrong variable there. So there's exam, yay. And I can make it slightly smaller if I want to. Right. Okay, let's move on. Now we have to read the rest of the text file. We've read that first line, and now the pointer is sitting over here on this line, and we've got to read from there and copy the pieces off and put them into a 2D array. So this is the procedure called CSV into array, and the procedure is called over here, read in this button, click event. When you click that button, it's calling that procedure called CSV into array, and we're busy writing the procedure. Now, I'm going to use a while, not end of file, T file, just typically because that's what you normally do. You're used to doing that. So we're going to read a line, read LN, read the next line from T file into S line. And remember, we set R row equal to 0 here. So I'm going to make R row equal to 0 there. I'm just putting it there so I can see it. And then I'm going to increment R row because I'm reading the first line. And then I'm going to copy from S line, just like I did over there. And I'm going to do it 6 times because there's 6 commas. Remember, but we're not going to use S headings now. We are going to, okay, we'll use S item, copy and then delete. But what's going to happen is, and I'm not going to use K, I'm going to use I col, for I col equals 1 to 6. We are then going to go and put in our S item. We did the same copying and deleting like we did before, but S item must be an integer. It must be put into the array. So I'm going to say A data square brackets R row comma I col is going to be equal to string to int S item. So it's exactly the same concept as what we did in that first line. And we're breaking up this line into numbers. That one's going to column 1, then that's going to be column 2, that's going to be column 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll be left, S line will be left with the number there. So after this for loop, because remember this for loop's only going 6 times, then we have to say A data square brackets R row R col. Now you wonder, why don't I increment R col beforehand? Well, the reason is because after a for loop, R col's 1 to 6, R col will be the number 7. String to int, but this time S line is going to go into row, and if it's row 1, because remember there, a row 1, then we're going for column 1 to 6, and R col is going to be 1, then it'll be 2, then it'll be 3, then 4, 5, 6. And then this is going to automatically R col. This is just happens to be a fact that your for loop counter, after it's finished the for loop, that for loop counter will be 1 more than its maximum value there. So it will be 7, and it'll go into that array. And that is it, guys. That is filling up the array with data, and we can basically go and do that and read CSV. Now, we don't see it over here, but guess what? We're going to put it into our list box. How are we going to put the items into the list box? Let's go and display the items in the list box, because it would be nice, wouldn't it? In fact, we're going to display the array into the list box. Now, the whole array. So for R row, if we're going to go through every single box of the array, we say for R row equals 1 to 5, because we know there are 5 rows. And then we say for R col equals 1 to 7 to begin and end. But here's a thing. We have to put begin over here because we're going to build a string and put it into the list box. So we're going to have to get a string, sline, or anything that you want to call it. I'm just using the same variable again. Sline's empty string, and then I'm going to say sline equals sline plus a data, but a data is an array of integers. See? So we have to say int to string, we're converting it back to string, a data, square brackets, r row, comma, r col. So we build a string there, and then over here we're going to go and put it in the list box, rbx results dot items dot add, sline is going in there. And it's done. Now let's run the program and see what happens. Okay, now I do not see any #9s because we didn't put #9s. We have to add a #9 over here after each item that we add. #9, and then maybe the tab stops will be good enough to see. We'll see if it really does work. Okay, it's not 100% because, as you can see, we have a problem with the headings in our list box. So, which is probably why the original program did not actually include the headings. I'm actually going to try something really stupid here now. I'm changing the tab width to 30 for the list box. We work much better in a rich edit, then you'll have everything spaced out neatly. Now obviously that's actually what we could do is go and put in the tab width, let's keep it 60, and then we add 2 #9s at the end of each line. And if that doesn't work, we'll add 3 #9s. But we should be getting closer to what we need. Not quite, eh? Nope. Anyway, you get the idea what we're trying to accomplish here. It would work much better in a rich edit, and you typically would have a rich edit in an exam, but don't quote me on that. Right, next one. We're going to go and do this. No, first of all, now this is what the array will look like when we read from the text file into the array. Okay, that's what it'll look like. And the question over here says, use a 2D array to get the total fees outstanding, the total of all fees. Well, guess what? We're going to go through every single box of the array, go through array 1 and put that into a total, and then add that one and add that one and add that one and add that one. So all of these are going to be added up. So we need a running total there. So let's go to box, it's number 3, is it? Yep. 3 and 4 buttons, so double click 3. And we're going to get our totaling variable, and I think, yes, it's all integer. Our total colon integer, and we set our total equal to 0, and then we use our for loops. We're going through every single one, so we're going to use our for loops counters. I'm copying and pasting, but it's probably stupid thing to do. Because we want to get, and we're not doing anything else here except totaling. So we say our total equals our total plus. Of course, we set our total equal to 0, and then we go and get the running total here in the beginning, in the middle of the for loop. Now, you don't need begin and end if you don't have anything else that you're doing. And there is only one simple thing that we're doing here, and that's getting a running total. So that code is good enough right there. Now all we do is rbx results dot items dot add into string I total, and with a message appropriate message that you can imagine you would put there. Of course, I do have errors because I never declared my row and col for my local variables there. And I have another one, missing operator semicolon. And take note, we didn't have to convert a dot to row because it's all integers. This array is an array of integers. So 3. So it's 0. Interesting. Because we are only dealing with column 3. So we don't need for our col equals 1 to 7. We're only dealing with column number 3. There it is. And so now let's see. Oh, you know what else I didn't do? I didn't click on the CSV button. You have to click on that button first, and then you click on the other button. So the total is 638350, and that is correct. All right. So now we're going to go to the next one, the average age of students. So we're using the column for the age, which is column number 2. So this is the exact contents of the array with the column numbers there, col and row. Column number 2. So we do the same thing as before, except we're now going to deal with the column 2. We're going through all the rows and we want the average age. Was it the average age? Average age. So we need the total of all the ages, which is what we're doing now with totaling up the age, and then we're going to go and calculate the average age over here. I'll do it in my code. Float to string f I total divided by 5, because I know there's 5, and if fixed, and we can make it 8, 0. So there I've done the calculation and everything inside the list box results.items.add. We calculated our total in the simple single loop of here for our row equals 1 to 5, because it's all column 2, and then we did our average over there using as few variables as possible. Oh, we first have to read from the CSV, okay, and then we go and click on the button. 17 is the average age, which actually makes 100% sense. Right, so that's that for now, and we'll do another one tomorrow.